It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Dude, very, very exciting. The 17th International Encounters Documentary Film Festival starts today in both Cape Town and Johannesburg, and simply showcasing some of the best documentaries the world has to offer over 10 days with 101 screenings. It's definitely an experience not to miss, with material that's literally designed to excite, provoke, challenge, entertain, and inspire you. Now, joining us in studio this morning to take us through some of the best documentaries this year from the African continent, festival programmer Jenna Bass. Jenna, very nice to have you back with us. How are you?
Oh, great. Thanks, and you?
No, not too bad. So this is very exciting. Always the Encounters Film Festival every year, especially now that we've celebrated Africa and, you know, the African continent, what it has to offer throughout the month of May. So what's coming out of the African continent? I see the first one here, we have the Shore Break that we can look forward to.
Yeah, we're very, very proud to be hosting the Shore Break at Encounters. It's a very, very powerful local film. And it's also wonderful to see documentary and activism coming together so successfully. It's set on the wild coast, where a community is being threatened by mining exploration. And the community's been progressively steamrolled by the mining company and also by local government into making this happen. And the film focuses on two cousins from the same family, one who is pro the mining and one who's anti, and it's this really epic battle between these two characters and also the community to get their voices heard. So really, really fantastic film.
All right, so definitely one not to miss. And then we have another one called Wild Dog and Mrs. Hart.
Yeah, it's really, really beautiful, by a filmmaker called leigh-anne, also from South Africa. It's a really tough film to watch. I mean, to be honest, I think I must have wept the entire way through,
really?
Which is maybe, you know, it's not something people want to hear, but it's a film that follows the work of animal welfare Helderberg with dogs and cats and other animals. And it's a really wonderful way to look at our country, you know, not necessarily just through the eyes of people, but the way that we treat our animals and what that says about us, and about the people who look after them, and who are very brave and kind of courageously doing this every day.
Perfect. We also have My Death Doesn't Belong to Me. What was that one all about?
Oh, this is a film that just stood out for me immediately as soon as I watched it. So it's not very often that you watch a kind of documentary comedy from Africa, and I think, as I kind of cried through the previous film, this one I just laughed pretty much the whole way. It's set in Burkina Faso, and it's about it's filmed by he's actually a comedian called Charles Auguste Coutu, and he's decided that when he dies, he wants there to be like a big party with drinking and carousing and can dances. So he sets off to make sure that someone will do this for him when he dies, and he won't just be forgotten. So he goes to funeral parlors and traditional leaders and priests and imams, trying to make sure that someone will take up the mantle of giving him a party when he goes.
So rather, you know, giving the message, celebrating life rather than mourning.
Very much. He's kind of like the Burkina Faso, Burkina Ali G, I like to say, in a way. He's really, really fantastic to watch. I really recommend it.
Now, there's a lot on the menu when it comes to the Encounters Film Festival. We're talking documentaries here. Obviously, a shorter version, short film. I mean, how long are they, per documentary, roughly?
Well, most of the documentaries we screen are feature-length movies, but often, you know, when they're not quite feature-length, we also have the opportunity to show a short film with them. So this also gives us a great chance to show a lot of student work by young filmmakers who are making their first film. So whenever we do that, we're possible.
And opposed to a film, what do you think is the impact of a documentary, you know, for viewers going out, especially looking at some of the films or the documentaries coming out of the African continent? I mean, how do you think that impacts on the people actually viewing these documentaries?
Well, I think it's a big responsibility to have, you know, for a festival like this, because we're given the opportunity of showcasing not just, you know, what's happening in the continent, but also the way that Africans are expressing themselves and, you know, expressing how they see the countries that they live in, and the continent that they live in, and sometimes not even just their own continent, the world at large. So, we feel that's a big responsibility to kind of do that justice, and you know, I think especially this year we put a lot of effort into showing a different side of Africa, or not just one side of Africa, but, you know, all the different facets. So we have films about Ethiopian divas and hate trade workers in Tunisia. So we're just trying to give like a different perspective, rather than kind of the usual kind of, you know, victimization.
I love it, because Africa is such an incredible continent that we do live on. Jenna, thank you so much. We are going to be talking to you a little bit later on about some of the international documentaries that we can see as well. But make sure that you don't miss and a whole lot more at this year's Encounters Documentary Film Festival. Like I said earlier on, it runs from today up until the 14th of June in Johannesburg and also in Cape Town. And if you would like to browse a full program and also screening venues, you can catch that at www.encounters.co.za. Stick around for some more chats about Encounters a little bit later on. Right now, let's over to Zoe. Let's find out what's coming up.
Well, thanks, Ewan. There are a lot of great documentaries coming up on SABC3 this month. Starting off with Titi, My Hero. It is a tragic life story of Titi Mashini, the unsung hero of the 1976 Soweto student uprising that brought Soweto to a standstill and launched the final 18-year phase that led to the end of apartheid. Now, that one's airing the 16th of June at 1 p.m. on SABC3. And then the other one is Playing the Enemy. This documentary tells us the real-life story behind the Springboks' miraculous road to the glory of the 1995 Rugby World Cup. And that one's airing on Wednesday, the 24th of June at 7:30. And as you can see behind me, we have Connecting Stars. They're waiting to perform for us. And we'll have a look at your movie review of the movie Sky after the break.